allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, with that, I'll call this meeting to order.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for June 6, 2023.
I'll second.
You got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 30th, 2023.
April 3rd.
Oh, that's May 3rd.
May 30th.
And I'll second that with that change.
Okay, got a motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well. Let's go down, well, we got different public hearing, you here for anything special, Brian, or?
Nope.
Just
Couldn't get my hair cut.
just couldn't get you.
I couldn't either.
We got some scissors over here. Somebody hold me down.
Please start.
Well, with that, we'll.
Just experience.
Okay, hold on to your seat, man. With that, we'll go on to meetings attended. What you got, Sean?
Holy Lord. We had an ambulance. Essential service tax meeting, same night you had your guys's. They have a brochure about 75, not a brochure, but a information pamphlet about 75% done. It looks good, a lot of information on it. Whether or not people will actually read it, I don't know. They're working on finishing it up and getting a printer involved. We're gonna have another meeting, not this week, but next week. And that'll be the final approval for that. I'm working on the wording for the tax itself. And I should be able to submit that to you guys next week. It's pretty short, simple, and then we can get it to Dorsey Whitney to have them check that.
Did we talk to him? It was one of.
Have not yet.
Okay.
I'm not yet. I wanted to kind of get something to them and have them, instead of them regurgitate something to us.
Yep.
Send something to them and say, what do you think?
Cause I think he was talking the middle of July had to be done by. You guys remember that?
We're gonna
What
be-
was that?
We're gonna be
Right, yes.
right on it, so we should be okay.
Great.
Other than that, nothing. I'll wait till farther down on the agenda to bring up some other stuff.
I had a conference board, over there, like I said, Jim was there, so pretty much just tell the audience that, Kathy's, retiring in July 7th. I did get a hold of, Paul Group, and he's gonna copy us on every step he makes. I don't know where he's at yet. I haven't seen anything yet, but, try to find a replacement or somebody temporarily till we can get somebody in there, or look at outside sources. So we're working toward that, and that's basically what the meeting was. When you say the majority of the discussion was at.
Pretty much all the meeting, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard any of that, but she's.
Yeah.
I'd update.
Yeah.
So
Des Moines or Des Moines County? That what you said?
Des Moines
Des
County,
Moines County.
yeah, and then looking at Muscatine County, but Paul's basically just gonna step in and kind of, I guess. What was that one in Iowa that he just did up there? They end up hiring somebody, but they looked at the pros and cons, and the counties that next to him wasn't really interested, but we do have interested counties, so. I don't know the right or wrong of it, but we gotta look at the pros and cons. and
Can
see
we,
what it does for the county.
Can we get to, one of us or all of us get to her and get an exit interview? I would like that, and I
We
can.
probably
do that.
ought to have one from each school, and that's always good.
I would like to talk to her. There's clearly something.
But we
going
ought
on.
to have each representative have somebody on that.
Let's find out what's going on.
With the employee that is leaving for Des Moines County.
I think she already left, didn't she?
No, she wasn't gonna leave until like July.
So,
7th? Okay.
Mhm.
Also, let's see, we had that, oh, we got some bids back. On the boiler, piping. I don't know if you guys, any of you heard, I just got it tonight and,
Sounds like it's a little bit of a snag going on. Yeah.
I had to sit down, I opened it up and I was standing and I got lightheaded. So I sat down.
Do we have a direction?
I'm trying to, figure out a direction to go if we do valvage changes. Because it's something that, if we was a corporate 500 company, that we would probably have to, look at deeply. Anyways, 320,000.
I talked to Brandon this morning on some other issues. You might want to talk to Geo. I think Geo got a price for just
I
changing
asked
out
him.
valves.
To check that on,
So
but I'd like to get another competitive
I
just to see
agree.
where it's
I
at.
think he's got that price.
Cause I asked him to look into it. He said he had a plumber. I said, we'll see what it would cost to repair the valvage in the area. That's the problem we have. We can't shut any valves.
We have some other local plumbers, so maybe we can't.
Dave wasn't interested. I talked to him about it and he did a small part of it. I wanted to get him involved in it. But it's something that. Yeah, I think valvage might be the answer. I just hate putting new tile over old line.
Yeah, it sounds like this is.
But 320,000,
Sounds like this is kind of what's stopping progress on everything.
that's Millard,
Nor-
yes.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna spend 300,000.
Now, sometimes we look at it, the overall, like we got a roof to put on and that's not gonna be cheap. And that's a have to because of the condition of the rubber membrane up there and then the insulating factor of it to it. I don't know, we're gonna spend some money, but I'd rather spend it on that and then do valvage where we can isolate, at least isolate things, have it. It's like.
How big a pipe are we talking? 2-inch?
2 to 4, it's a lot of welding.
Specialized welding.
Yeah. And so it's not thread, it's a lot of welding and flange, so that's why it's expensive. And maybe not, the material on it was 75,000.
So that's changing all the pipe and all the valves.
Yeah.
Where I think Geo's price was just changing out valves, right?
What I asked him, yep. And then the 110,000 of it was changing the old controls over to electronic. So if we took out the electronic controls and did it, we would be looking at right at 200,000. But I think it's something that down the road we need to look at because right now we have to run our air compressor 24/7 to operate all our valves and they leak by and there's a problem. So it's a little bit more than piping. It is in their system. So, but anyway, chew on that, but I'm gonna run a chew when I see it. The other thing is we had a conservation meeting last night. Where concrete's done out got a park out there. Miles back. Eden Park, yeah, thank you. Well, we had the playground equipment and they're supposed to be here this week to put down the subsurface for the playground equipment, make it safe, and they want to push it back to July, so Katie's gonna call them today and see if we can get it moved up, get it back to schedule, because we can't open the park up until we get that subsurface for the final service for around the playground equipment. You got the building the pump shed right now. Drinking fountains on back ordered. I think that's it.
Okay. All I had was the conference board meeting where we start looking for a new assessor. Now we'll go on to, I handed Sean the payroll changes.
Maybe we have.
4 or 5.
None of them should be too shocking.
Well, we have a deputy that went from part-time to full-time.
This is gonna be our SRO officer in Columbus, is who it's gonna be.
That's who that is?
Yeah,
Okay,
he passed his tests. He's going to the academy. Yeah. They kind of had their eye on him, but he was having some trouble passing tests, but he passed them all.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Good,
So,
good guy.
yeah.
okay, and then we have
He's got roots here. That's what I like.
yeah, we went. In the auditor's office, we had a person go from. Clerk to first deputy, and we got rid of auditor retired. And we had a first deputy go to the auditor. So that's that. That's us. There's the travel commit to the community club.
And on this,
Denied.
Selena's, and I wanna discuss this too, when after the 14 days, if we don't get another candidate, we have to. I wanna look at that payroll, I think it's fair that we take her up to the other.
Right,
Rate, where everybody else is at too, I think it's. Especially when she starts doing the assessor's job, you're gonna need a little bit more help.
Yeah, if we don't,
don't run her off. Good lord.
if we don't find an assessor
Yeah.
in 30 days.
Gee
The
whiz.
13th is the magic number for. To see if somebody wants a special election
So next
June?
Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
Okay,
Okay, so we just review the appointment schedule, there's no.
Yes, yeah. Cause I have.
You seen it?
Yeah.
Auditor, I have to make that appointment.
It's just for review that, how she,
yep.
it's her first and second deputy, and
How I figured that was gonna go.
here's Wapello and Morning Sun ambulance reports to look at.
Okay, since we're looking at these reports, I guess I'll talk. We had a little incident out at Langwood this weekend, in case you hadn't heard.
Close seconds.
Yeah, I guess to put it politely, I'm getting more information, but the response time is not what I wanted and what I want to see.
With you.
Yeah,
Also, the 911 call went to Muscatine.
I know.
So I gotta look into that.
That's why I was on the phone with Brandon this morning about dispatch protocol, who gets dispatched, how it gets dispatched.
How did it get rolled over? Did Brandon have an answer for that yet this morning?
It was more to it than that.
Okay.
I understand the ambulance in Grandview wasn't staffed, so they had to bring something out of Columbus Junction. Wapello, and I'm gonna confirm all this, Wapello heard the call but wasn't dispatched. They went ahead and went to the gas station and waited, knowing that they perhaps didn't have a paramedic. Either they went ahead and went, or they were called, I'm not sure.
It was called.
Okay, the helicopter circled, was about ran out of fuel because they couldn't land, they didn't have a landing zone. I'm listening to all this on the scanner, I could tell something wasn't right. And I got information after the fact, and there's a problem. The guy's gonna be okay,
Yes.
but him laying there on the ground for the amount of time that he did was wrong. I think there's a problem. We need to learn from this. If the ambulance services cannot police themselves, we're in trouble. We need to find out what happened and fix the problem.
And I think this is a good point too, because I also did talk to several other people and got. Not the full thing, but I'd like to have a meeting to get the full thing. I think we need to do that ASAP. And also too, I want, since I'm a member of the 911 board, I want to find out how that failed and get that fixed first, but that never happens again.
According to Katie, it's really weird at Langwood. It's hard to get a call out, especially down in the ropes area.
But this was on a hard line and it went to Muscatine.
I know that if you're at Oakville, or not Oakville, Odessa, the calls generally go to Illinois because it transfers that way. I don't know why Grandview would go to Muscatine.
Especially a hard line.
Langwood and the
from a
sheriff's department are
hard line.
pretty close.
And I lived in
That's a
that area.
phone, that's a phone thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's where I think 911 board needs to get into that questions, but that don't happen.
I don't, the tier thing is what's bothering me. Who's calling who's responding, how we're getting help where it needs
This
to
line's
be.
in the sand, it's gotta stop. And it stops tonight. If there's
If the ambulance cannot be staffed in
with a
Grandview,
paramedic,
it needs to go
we
somewhere where
need
we
a
have
tack truck
paramedics.
to go out on that. At least that, a minimum amount. Especially on a severe injury, that needed to be a paramedic.
I'm pretty worked up about this.
I am
And
too.
I'm not happy.
This could have been a lot worse,
Yeah,
and we gotta fix it.
I agree. We need to look at the boundaries. We need to look at what's going.
We need to eliminate boundaries. And we need to work as a unit.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Brandon's on vacation. I didn't mean to interrupt him on vacation, but when he comes back, he's giving me the call log on exactly what times, who was dispatched. We're probably gonna get these people together in a great big room and we're gonna hash this
And
out.
I think what we need to do is put it down for more than one supervisor can be there, and also too, I want to find out this landing zone. I was involved in it for many years, and it's pretty much strict protocol. You set up landing sites, first thing you do is prepare.
Somebody said they were trying to mow a patch land the damn helicopter in Grandview, load the patient up and get him to Grandview.
Absolutely.
Don't let the helicopter run out of gas.
No, then we got another emergency. And I imagine when they say run out of gas, they have a time.
I know,
To get them
they
back
got-
down
I
to
know
city
that,
to a
but I
port.
could feel the heat radiating up on the back of my neck when I was hearing all
I
that.
was embarrassed. As a supervisor of the
Sure.
of the county, and I know how our system works, and it's usually like a precision watch.
Let's go to the next step. We're trying
Let's
to,
find out the answer.
we're trying to put a tax together to make this better, and
Make it better.
it's hard for me to stand up and beat that drum when we've got issues and
Yep.
by God, we're gonna get them ironed out.
Let's fix the broken spokes and get the bike running good again. Yeah.
Anyway, I think that would be a good moment to get those people in the room and also talk about bonuses and finances and how all this potential tax money is going to be spent.
Did you?
'Cause I'm
mention
not
any
just gonna
bonus
hand them
rounds?
money. I'm not gonna hand them money.
No, did you mention anything to?
They weren't there.
Okay.
They're gonna have to come and ask for it. It's not a free for all.
No.
We've all,
Sorry.
nope, that's
I'm with
good to
you.
hear.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing more about this as the morning goes on.
We're gonna, at conservation and other departments, I wanna review our emergency policies. I guess there were some questions on who to contact. The main thing is get help there. People, the safety is the priority, and then we gotta have a list of communication. Cause it could have been a whole lot worse. So we're gonna look at that through the conservation, but I think as a county, we need to look at a whole list for everybody, who to contact, who talks to press, who don't talk to press. Just make a protocol that we have something, a Bible to follow through to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Sometimes it takes a catastrophic event to open up the eyes and we can see our weaknesses, and our weaknesses showed through on this one here pretty good. So we just gotta make sure, and the course is closed until, it was just inspected. And, there's some, we wanna gather some data and, find what failed, make sure we get through it and, look at it. So we're talking to the people that certified us. And fix it and, make sure nothing like this ever happens again. And thank God it wasn't, worse than what it was, so. Good conversation.
That one for a motion. Or did we? Okay,
Motion for what?
the fireworks permit.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I can get it to Brad.
Got it?
Oh,
You got
no,
it?
go ahead.
No, that's okay.
I'll make a motion to
I'll
approve
second
the
it.
Grandview Community Club.
And I'll second.
Then you got a second. We have a motion, second, all in favor.
Aye.
Okay. You're looking at ambulances?
I got the Waplo.
Yeah, I got morning star. There's a lot more information here than normal, which is, I'm not complaining.
Must be on vacation.
Well, they're including payroll stuff now.
Good.
Amount of checks and mileage and
All we want is
some
everything
other
we have.
stuff. You can have that one if you want.
Good, thank you.
You lost yet, Brian?
No. Keep it up. We were preparing for a meeting on the Highway 61 coalition with the DOT board. There's a group of people from different parts of the county make up that board, and they're gonna come to Burlington. I'll probably be down there and meet with them. It's latter June, we're putting a presentation together. Footages. Gonna talk to, some of our plans are to talk to the mayors of the connecting city, to get like a video to prepare for it. We're doing some drone videos of the new assessed area or acquired area from Minneapolis to 1 mile past Newport. They got the road markers up, and we're gonna do drone footage of that where we can show the commissioners. And also, I think we plan on doing a presentation to the governor's staff. I don't know if we're gonna meet with the governor or not, but staff. To keep this thing in the forefront of, there's a lot of competition as far as monies. There's only so much monies go around, the 30, Highway 30, and I think the 280, they're looking at pouring a lot of money in that. And there's even talk about 4-lane from Des Moines to Iowa City, adding each direction. So they're looking at expanding.
Yeah.
More.
That's been talked about for a few years.
Yeah, now with the feds, that'd be the federal money going into it, so. Depends on the infrastructure bill, if it goes through or whatever it does, but. So we're trying to do that, and have a competitive, trying to get money for local funds, so. I'll let you know as that gets closer. And
We'll get the tent that's been out there all spring for their archaeological dig.
Yep, and they pulled up, they finished up on that.
Right.
And they pulled everything out. I think they're done. I haven't heard that for a fact. I talked to, what's his name down at DOT. Ran into him down in Burlington, Derek Belser. And, he told me that things are moving forward, so they're gonna do a bid in July for the Minneapolis to Newport section for groundwork.
The right of way signs is in a guy's leach field. That's how close it is to his house there in Newport.
Yeah. They came closer than I thought they was gonna be.
Well, I mean, I built the hay field there, and it's in his, the right of way is in his leach field.
Well, we all
Or his
thought it was
leach
gonna
field.
take your brother's house and it was in between it now. Yeah, so that's,
No, it's always been in between it.
I always thought it was gonna go on the outside of it, but closer to the towers, but it's
No.
close. It's almost next to the same route it took. It is now. It's not far away. You can see it from where they're driving the old route.
Oh, yeah, it's still gonna be 300 yards
Yeah.
from the
but you
old
can
right
still-
of way.
Yeah, I always figured it was gonna be further out, but they're gonna release that in July. I'm not for sure what day in July. I don't know if it's toward the end or middle, but they're gonna start the releasing, open up the bids. That's when the bid opening is, so hopefully we'll have more information. You know, who got it and where it's going.
That's me, they'd have bought my house with the 4-lane on my leach field. That's how close it is to the house.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got Adam here is. We'll get you in here before our 9:30 meeting.
All right, sounds good to me. Construction updates, up on 160th, we've got some pipes in there and equipment moved in, they're supposed to start moving, supposed to start on pipes tomorrow morning, I guess is the plan, so. Hopefully get that done Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and get moving dirt next week or so, so. That's the plan, they're still confident that they can get it done before the 4th of July, so.
Excellent.
Now it won't be seated and all that, but we still be open to traffic and all that, so.
But these pipes will be closed. Okay, this week,
Yeah.
off and on.
Yeah, I put out a notice before Memorial Day, because that's when they were supposed to, they had told me like Wednesday, we're gonna start next week and then it's back, so. So, yeah, it's ready to go there, so. What's going on? Up at W66, they haven't been back since they poured that bridge deck. I checked at the end of the week. The end of the week, there'll be 17 or 18 days left. Which, if we have good weather, probably puts them running out of days at the end of the month or so. After that, it's $1,000 a day, a penalty, so.
How much a day?
$1,000 bucks a day to put penalty up there. You know, if you're making 10 grand and working elsewhere a day, it's not a big penalty, so. So, hopefully, you know, look like, but hopefully both of these projects be done beginning of July or so. Hard to tell. But,
Mhm.
so, wanted to touch base on some of the costs on things here. So we, in the budget. Doesn't do good in my brain. So last time we had talked about the Grandview bypass project of paving, right? We had talked about 225 as a cost for concrete and seal coat, and looking like that's gonna hold there pretty well. I was gonna ask if we wanted to go ahead and do the seal coat work in Grandview. That's in front of our shop down to the stop sign in town. I think to concrete it, to seal coat 160, you know, to do in Grandview is a total of about 230,000. We talked about it, about that 225 to just do 160. That came in less. So I'm wondering if we just want to get this all banged out in one thing done. So when we come back on asphalt, we don't have to worry about, you know, doing non-farm market route. And maybe be just better to get it done now. I know the road's kind of not in great shape. My thinking, I talked to Pelling, is they would come down and lay down an 8-foot strip over that center joint that's kind of coming apart. Hit that and then do it again with the entire 22 feet or something, so.
I said ditches on that section, is that, I notice they're not complete on a lot of that over there.
It's in town, so we haven't ever done anything with it. Should probably go and look at it, I guess. You know, that stretch, that north-south stretch has always been in the city, and so we haven't done anything with it at all.
Yeah, it might be something we might wanna touch up before we get that paving on there, cause I know a lot of the ditches are filled in that used to be prominent through there. I don't know how the culverts are in the connecting roads.
We can take a look at it, I guess, yeah.
Well, and then, maybe we can get somebody with a jetter truck to clean some of them culverts out, I don't know. Instead of replace them,
Yeah.
I don't know how bad they are, but I know Waffle just bought a new jetter truck and.
I think the ones across, well. If you get too far west to Main Street, I know those big concrete pipes are. They're in good shape, some of them are full, I know they've done some. Kind of plugged them up and off and on, but I wasn't gonna take the seal coat that far west, so. Kind of, because it's striped like a highway up into Main Street. And then from then on, it's just there's an David striping in that part, so. I was gonna go from the south side to Main Street, east and then north. Do that, but. We can take a look at the culverts and all that kind of stuff there. I don't know. I'll talk to the mayor again and all that and see how happy they are, because if. One thing is getting them cleaned out, the other is people complain if we tear up their yards, so it's kind of a.
Yeah.
Soft touch there.
And this is something you would do after the July 1st budget, right?
Yeah, correct, yeah. So, the. Concrete work there on 160th would be like September, October is when higher king. I think our. Late start date for that is like September 12th or something, so. They get going on that, and then the asphalt or the seal coat would come in after that, and I've already got that kind of worked out. With Pelling, that we don't want them to do that work until we got the concrete down.
Absolutely.
Because we want to match the concrete, not match the seal coat, it's gonna be all funky, so.
Sounds good to me.
Plans for me, so, or plans for us, I guess. Other than that, we're ditching down on K Avenue. Down by Smith Hill, if you guys know that, whatever that's called, down there. Doing that down there and then doing up by, kind of by, right here. Take a good look. I couldn't put my mind on that part, what it was called, so. Getting those done.
Down that gravel road,
But,
where you ditching down the hill.
yeah,
On the. Going towards Columbus on the right hand side,
we.
for water to run.
We did both sides of that, pulled it in. We had put some erosion stone down that as well, because it washes out and all that. It's one of those deals that we probably should have done it 20 years ago, but we just didn't spend the money to get the rock in there, but it's tightened up now and looking good, so.
Pulled a lot of cars out of the ditches down there.
Now you come down there, go past Chicken Bluffs heading toward the town, and there's a oop hill. I would like, if anybody ever needs like a bunch of dirt, I would give it to them. And we could take that oop hill out there. That's a bigger project, so. There's just there's a fiber optics in that thing too, so we didn't. We want to dig into it.
It would flatten that hill out a little bit, Tom.
It would. I thought, I've talked in the past, about doing some work out there on X37 and maybe straighten out those curves. If we ever did that, I know a good spot for dirt. Take it close and drop it in there.
The Chickabend, that road there, how much car counts on that? Is there 200 on that?
Not 200, but 150 or something. I mean, it's a busier gravel road for sure. And then as you get closer to X37, there's a couple spots where there's some slugs where the washed out on the field and it kind of gets a little swampy there, but when we're all done, it'll be good. It's draining right. I think dirt from that's going down to the fairgrounds because they could always use dirt down there. So
A lot of it's went to help Lancers too with their,
yeah, we're doing that too. Yeah, on both of those. So finding some good uses for it, I guess. So other than that, doing some engineering things in the office and all that. I've got some conferences and things like that coming up. Justin and Mike have been spraying off and on, so everybody's busy, so
it's good. I hear.
any questions for me or anything going on?
Mhm.
Oh, one thing I was gonna ask, on the paved shoulder trail there on X61, you guys know we're getting to the point where we're gonna need some maintenance on it. You know, I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. Obviously, most of it's in pretty good shape, you know, there's 13 miles or something there. I always forget the actual mileage, but most of it's in good shape, but we have some bad spots there, so I'm working with some contractors to give me some proposals on, you know, do you patch those areas, do you do some sort of an overlay over it? Some spots maybe become concrete, you know, like at the corner, G56 there, coming off the sheriff's, I mean, that really gets that torn up, so. That's something we do with our crews, which we're not, you know, we're better at patching like a specific spot rather than doing a whole line of it. Also know those intersections at G56 are pretty. Well, when we did it, we didn't make them wide enough, and those insides get torn up and all that. So I'm looking at all those kind of things as maybe the same project or parts of a different project.
We bought some more rock.
Yeah,
Thought we had a big pile of it.
we did, but that goes that big pile's down there, and it goes down to Cherry Acres District and Dusty's District, maybe Little Rick. But we had some up north to be down. I think we're done with rock now. I mean, I think we got 50 or 60,000 left in the budget. So
Guess you're all I was gonna ask.
so another thing on rock. So fiscal year 23, what we're done, right? We had budgeted for 74,000 tons. We had about 72,000 of that assigned to the districts, and about 2,000 kept in a special thing, you know, if we ever needed to do something, or I or Terry got a wild hair in our hind end, or made a bad spot or something, we can do that. This year, we're gonna push down to 70,000 tons released to the guys. We're gonna keep about 4,000 in our pockets. So we are reducing usage a little bit, saving some money, but we also have it in case, you know, we have some areas that will blow up or
Spring or high water.
yeah, you know, with us doing a bunch of shoulder work, you know, we can always use that rock to overtop it there. You know, I'm thinking about the bluff road, you know, if we get to pull in there and there's some base issues, we can kind of address it at that time. That's more like a project type rock, so.
Well, back to your bicycle trail that's breaking up. Is there grants to do that? I mean,
I can,
something that not every taxpayer wants their money spent
understand.
towards. I mean, I've heard a time or two,
Time
just a
to-
time or two.
yes. Well, it's a thing, yeah. Yeah, so that, but you know, damage is also caused by I see a lot of trucks that cut those corners and they You
I know,
Yeah, I agree.
it just kind of adds insult to injury. You know,
Mhm,
where,
mhm. I am going, I think there was a new round of a tap coming out, so I'll check that out and see what we can do there, so. Even that, there is a match on it, so.
Yeah.
80-20 match, you know,
I know.
and it wouldn't hurt me, you know, if we got some money to do it, you know, maybe Fort Hill, we could do both sides of that one, because that one washes out. You know, going down there, and if a bicyclist does come up the hill, we sure would rather have them off to the right. You know, not get hit or whatever, so. But, yeah, I'll take a look at what kind of maintenance grants there are, and maybe what we can do as a project on that whole thing, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions for me, guys?
Equipment, what do we have coming in? Is there still some stuff that's?
Yeah. Our 2023 dump truck is supposed to be here in September of 23, which is actually fiscal year till 24. We got the motor grader, I believe, coming in the fall. I think the mower, the truck cat replacement mower, I think that is probably December or so.
That was the pickup, did we have one pickup too that was,
We were going to get one for Terry, but we're gonna hold it off.
okay,
So,
just carry that over, is that what you're thinking about doing?
well, we actually didn't program
Oh, you didn't write the budget for
program this year, but it'll be there next year. I mean, he's gonna get, you know, he's gonna have 110 on that thing. By the time we get to the end of the year.
And you might look at pickups because they're starting to become cheap, because there's a large quantity that we're sending to auctions now.
Oh, that's good. Well, they're cheap. Maybe that's
Maybe it's time to look ahead.
yeah. So,
Cheaper.
So, we buying trucks, we usually buy a maintenance, superintendent truck every 2 or 3 years. He probably puts 20,000 a year, 24,000 a year on his. So that, I usually put 15 to 18 on mine, but mine. Somewhere 6 to 8 years, you know. So, yeah, we always need to keep an end on our trucks too, you know, if we kind of be cheap up front, well, those ones at the end of the line are 250,000 miles on them, so, yeah. So, a thing to keep an eye on, so. All right, anything else for me?
Nope, thank you.
We worked over for long enough.
Then I'm eating up 18 minutes of your life, so.
I guess, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I heard about that, kind of, yeah. See ya.
See ya.
Okay, let's look at the claims before we get Bobby in here. Not much to them this time. That's good. Yeah.
I will have to say, I stopped in the courthouse last week and watched them scan the books and the,
Mhm.
And then there's
that is wild.
Yeah, yeah.
That is
quite a system in it.
Yeah. Watch them. Some of the books are pretty old that they're scanning,
Yeah,
and it was very, very interesting to talk to them and
it's
watch
supposed to
that.
be done in the next couple of weeks, I think.
I think the guy's had about enough. He said he's been there for a while. and
Yeah, he's been here
Looked like
gone 2 months,
Yeah.
Nate, and he is not going to be here. He took another job in Minneapolis, where he's from, so he's gonna be leaving.
Yeah.
There's been another guy down next week.
Right when they're about ready to finish.
Yeah,
It looks like a pretty monotonous job, I will have to say,
yeah.
so.
Okay, look at this here. Comes out to this,
Hmm.
okay? You look at this one, look at all the way down there, just look at the, just.
How it's added up
Oh, it's how many hours they got, and I just,
per year? Not for the month.
hours. Gross pay. Hours,
Oh, you divide them
Gross pay.
out. Hmm. Wow. Wonder if they're hiring.
yeah, I'd take the administration job.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's salary.
Apparently not. Gets paid by the hour.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I would think the administration would be salary. Maybe he's just logging his time. It's a question to ask, I guess.
Don't look like it to me. You see what I'm talking about?
I see exactly what you're talking about.
You see it, Chris?
No, I don't like that.
188.35 per hour.
He's taking
Go by
his-
his hours.
Taking his gross and dividing it by the hours.
Okay,
Bobby.
that'd be a pretty good job.
That's what I.
Hi, Bobby. God, we haven't seen you in person since
Oh,
63 or 64, wasn't it? How you doing? Okay? Good.
Well,
And then down
more
here,
questions will be asked.
even you get down here, the rates are just so different. That's what I was kind of going through.
I know they have a rate difference on Waplo, whether you're a paramedic or a EMC.
Yeah, but there's no paramedics.
You're right.
So that brings it way down, but if you look at, and I gotta check and see which one is EMT, but just look at the difference. You know. Our other agencies don't pay their help that much per hour. I got some questions.
Can I have that?
Let me take a picture. I'll make a copy of
Copy
these.
that
both
way
of these.
I can.
Make all
Order
three.
them all in the same room. The other thing that I was worried about was this.
Yeah.
So they're talking about doing transfers now. Like county,
Yeah, I've always
and
seen
they
something.
said it's not gonna affect their 911 response time.
Well, it's already been a
They're
compliment.
using staff that's not working.
But some of the, from what I'm told, some of those transfers still need a paramedic involved.
They was gonna do, way I understood it, they're talking to them, they was gonna use staff that was not on the hour.
Like volunteer. type
Volunteer.
thing. How many volunteers are gonna just jump in and start transferred?
Down here,
Get burned out.
In Waffle, quite,
Yeah, but we're talking about Louisa County.
oh, that's not the place to have it.
Waffle
Waffle was gonna use, non-staff, I thought that's who he was talking about.
Let's go to Louisa County. Waffle's not doing that. They
Let's get what they're doing down at first.
But that was brought up by Houston in like a
Yeah,
newspaper.
that's Louisa County's gonna start doing transfers.
See,
I'm
Waffle-
assuming for money
It is, if there's pay rate pretty good, but you can't use your main carriage for that.
and not expect it's gonna affect. I know Jason's online. Jason, can you beep in here real quick?
He's probably taking a nap.
Yes,
Hey, Waplo's not doing transfers, is that correct?
right. At this time, we're not doing transfers.
I thought. We've talked about this several times that, and we had that discussion about Louisa County doing them and how it wasn't gonna affect their 911, and I'm a little worried about that.
Cause it will,
I can't believe that it wouldn't.
unless you use staff like Waffle was talking about, that is often scheduled, that's what I thought you was talking.
Like a, well, and they're using volunteer staff to do them transfers, but let's be honest, I don't know how long the volunteers are gonna wanna do that.
So in theory, since the staff at Wapello has said that they are interested in doing some transfers, we would not start that until we get the new ambulance. We would put then we'd have 3 ambulances. The first 2 would be staffed prior to taking a transfer. So
You-
therefore, basically 3 would be staffed.
Do you normally need an EMT or a medic or a paramedic to do a transfer?
Inter-facility, we're talking like hospital to hospital. Probably 90% of them are paramedic or at least advanced life support, so they need cardiac monitoring. So that would be a paramedic call.
Well, we're already stretched a little thin within the county for paramedics, so I find it hard to believe that we're gonna be able to up all those transfers like that and still keep a paramedic. You know. Especially during the day when everybody's at work.
True.
I don't know, I think we need to get all these entities in a room and we need to have this discussion, especially based on what happened last weekend, so.
Absolutely.
We need to get this figured out,
I would agree.
yeah. Okay, that's all I needed, thank you, Jason.
You bet.
Okay, before we get started, Bobby, is everybody comfortable with the claim?
I haven't went.
You haven't went through them? Well, then we'll do this 2080 with Bobby and come back to claims.
Okay.
Bobby's ready for us.
I was worried about payroll. Yes. So how are you doing, Bobby?
Good.
Great seeing you. How's the world of brain health?
Well, a lot of changes going on, which is why I'm here. We've been having a lot of discussions, probably for the last 6 months, we've been talking about merging in with South Central Behavioral Health Region. And so today we have a resolution with, for the board to sign their intent to join into the 2080, and then also signature page to actually join into the 2080. So we actually have been in conversation not only with South Central Behavioral Health Region, which is Appalachia, Davis, Buffalo, and Haskell. But Monroe County also opted to join us as well. They were in the Cross region, but that region is in the process of merging with another region, I understand. So we are almost fully encumbering all of our 8th judicial district counties. So kind of followed along with the judicial districts. However, there's one county that did not join us, that was Powashik. We did extend that invitation to join the region, but they declined at this point in time. So
How's that work if they decide down the road that, oh, I made a mistake, I want to come on board?
we would, if we were okay with them joining, which we would be,
Okay.
obviously, because we invited them
So
to
it's not
join us,
big.
then we would just have to redo our 2080 and they would redo their 2080 for their region.
So are we joining them or are they joining us? Or you just,
It's a mutual agreement.
this all come to, okay,
Yes.
It's all
so-
state funded, who cares?
what were we before?
Before we were 8 counties, the Southeast Iowa Link region. And they were the South Central Behavioral Health Region, and they had their
So
4
they're-
counties, and then Monroe was in another
Okay,
region, which
so
was the
it's
Cross
taken
region.
long and kind of push them.
So what kind of happened is in December, their CEO of their region took a position, another position with one of the NCOs. And so, at that time, Ryan Wood, who was our CEO, had a discussion with our SEAL region, and talked to the governing board about sharing that role. So she became the interim CEO for South Central Behavioral Region, which started discussions of, we have all the same contracted provider, not all the same, but a
Yeah.
lot of the same contracted providers, would this be wise for us to look into? And so we started digging into it and then decided that merging would be a good option for us.
Okay.
So that's how it was,
Okay.
that's how it all kind of started and began.
And the state was kind of
In favor.
encouraging it.
The state had talked about realigning the regions. I know they're looking at lots of different maps right now, and I think that conversation, I mean, there's lots of rumors about how that, where that information came from, but I think that with the state looking at CCBHCs, which is, I will not remember the whole full name, but they're community behavioral health centers, basically. Right now we have CMHCs, which are community mental health centers, but CCBHCs would, provide expanded services. They're, you know, they incorporate a lot more things that they would be doing for your communities. So right now, the state of Iowa is actually in a pilot project, to begin that process of assigning CCBHCs in the state of Iowa. So next year they'll be applying again to actually get the grant. They have a grant right now to do some investigation and looking into becoming one of those potential grantees. There are 10 states that can obtain this grant to expand CCBHCs in their states. 15 states are currently in the running for it. So
Do we have one in Louisa County?
we have a CMHC right now. We
Where's
have a
that?
community mental health center, that's Hillcrest Family Services.
Okay,
We have one, Hillcrest has one in Louisa, Washington, and Henry County.
okay,
Other counties have community mental health centers and or they have community health centers. But we have several of them within our 8-county region. What would potentially happen in the future is there are a few, they have a little different maps, the CCBHCs do, because when they wrote in for this grant, they had developed other maps looking at populations and trying to even that out. But anyway, they came up with 9 in the state of Iowa.
Okay.
And that was just in the grant proposal. I attended that meeting, for stakeholders. I want to say it was last month. Those maps aren't set in stone or anything, but that's kind of just what they started with for the grant proposal so that they could get the ball rolling. And so if that comes about and we end up getting the grant next year, then we will be looking at adding some CCBHCs in our state. That will obviously, could look a little bit different with our community mental health centers. Because with those CCBHCs, they actually can provide, they have to provide 51% of the services that they're required to, and there's a lot of requirements for them because, you know, just like crisis response services, mobile crisis response, all those things, it's part of what they will have to do. And then 49% of what they do would be contracted or subcontracted with other entities up to that amount. So there are a lot of different rules to what, and there's different reimbursement for CCBHCs as well. So, right now we have a community health center, yes, here in Wapello, so they.
I've talked to Adam Parsons in great length about mental health in Louisa County, and with his job, there's a lot of issues with that needed to be. I think it's getting better, but there for a while, it's pretty rough.
We have limited providers, obviously, in Louisa County, just because we're such a small county. So we're lucky to have, we have the drop-in center with Mott's, which is Hope Haven's our contracted provider. They also have the one in Lee County. And we do have a community health center, which is very nice here. We don't have a lot of SCL and supported community living providers and other services inside of our county. So we utilize our contracts that we have as a region, for like the crisis home services. We have one right there in Burlington. And also we have the 24-hour crisis assessments, things like that, that we can do across all of the counties. And we utilize Guidelines, which is the access center. So we can utilize that, which has, you know, sobering units, the crisis stabilization, the 23-hour observation, for all those services available. And we also can use the one in the Ottumwa, which was another great reason for us, you know, in our discussions of joining our regions, because Ottumwa actually has the Southern Iowa Mental Health Center Access Center, so we utilize them quite a bit as well.
Always seemed like all the beds and rooms were full all the time, though. It was difficult to get people.
For inpatient acute hospitalization beds,
Yeah,
yes,
it was
we have
tough.
a great shortage of psychiatric inpatient beds in the state of Iowa. This is true,
Yeah,
and that continues to be a concern.
yeah.
Been a problem for
It's not going to get any better.
several years.
So that's why we're looking at the development of community-based services and crisis services. So That's why we looked at doing crisis assessments in the emergency rooms, trying to do level of cares in the ER before they sign off on any 229 commitments, which would require them to do an inpatient evaluation in a psychiatric hospital to alleviate that pressure of going into a psychiatric facility to sit for 3 to 5 days to get the assessment to determine, do they even need that level of care? Because then you've taken a bed that potentially could have been for somebody you needed. So that's where we put all of the assessments in the ERs. We don't have an ER in Louisa County, but we have a provider in all of the counties that we have.
Some of the issues though that you have is that you medicate some people, put them out, and then there's no guidance on whether or not they're taking their medication. They just decide they quit taking their medication and then you have issues.
Yes, yep. There is an issue between, even when you have a commitment, yeah, we have difficulties with individuals maintaining their treatment regimens and the court overseeing that and trying to, because they're
That's-
involuntary.
That's the avenue that I was taking, was, yeah.
And if they're involuntary, then you can take some measures, which could potentially be rehospitalization to get them back on their medications, but yeah, that is a struggle for some folks to keep them on their treatment regimen and stable. Yes, we do, actually, I think I might have told you this the last time we met, but we did sign a contract also for mobile crisis response services. Okay, so Elevate is our new provider. So they currently are working on getting staff hired so that we can begin and, having that service available for law enforcement and also to the emergency rooms. It'll be available to the school. It's available to anybody in the community, but especially agencies who work a lot have clients or children who are having any mental health issues that they would want to respond to. And they would be able to go out into the field face to face with those individuals and do screenings and also do resource and referrals to make sure that we're kind of getting them into the services that they need. And they're also willing to provide us with community-based crisis stabilization services, which we didn't have in our region before. So that will be a great addition for us too.
And with this change, because I didn't hear you say anything about, because we was using beds out of Iowa City, is that still?
We still use the beds out of Iowa City. Those are the access center guidelines.
Right.
Yep, we still utilize them. We have folks from Des Moines County, Lee County. People come from all over. That is anybody can go there.
Okay.
So you can show up there yourself to have an assessment. If you feel like you're in crisis, somebody can take you there. Law enforcement can take you there. Obviously, if law enforcement's taking them, we want law enforcement
That's
to call
what's
ahead
handy
of
for
time.
ours. Yeah.
But yeah, anybody can go up to the access center, get triaged, have an assessment. They have 23-hour observation. They have crisis stabilization beds. They have a sobering unit, and they also have a detox unit, as well as a homeless shelter attached to that separate. It's a fabulous facility, and she's come and talked to our CIT group that meets locally here in Louisa County to talk about that resource and how to access it. So
Sounds like a vacation.
it's a brand new
I can
facility.
get away from people for 23 hours and I don't.
I've toured it twice, and every time I go, I'm amazed by it.
Where's this at?
It's in Iowa City. Yep, it's on Southgate, so it's right on the southern. Yeah, it's easy access for us down here
Yeah.
to get to. So yeah, we have patients going through there all the time, and then Medicaid reimburses for most of those services, and if they don't, then the region reimburses for those, so they just invoice us.
And is this through the hospital? Is it for commitments? No, it's for,
It's not for commitments,
okay,
it's for voluntary.
voluntary.
Yep.
Can I ask a question about, there was a situation at the courthouse yesterday. We had a person that was dropped off for court, and they had been at the homeless shelter in Muscatine. And they were waiting for their ride to come back, and they came into our office and were talking, and eventually she was referred over here to the general relief office, and I believe Cindy talked to her. And the ride did come back and pick her up and took her back to the homeless shelter in Muscatine. Well, it was probably about an hour later, she showed back up in the auditor's office. And she had hitched a ride back to Wapello because she was wanting to she had went to court to get money from a spouse for child support. She ended up putting a chair in front of the treasurer's office door. So she was like talking to everybody, all the customers coming and going. And I did talk to one of the deputies who said that because then it got to be, it was like 3:30. She was asking people for rides. And that's when I called a deputy, and he said he would make the dispatchers know about it. And if she was not gone by the time we closed, to give them a call. Well, she started asking for rides to all the employees then, and at 4:30, our janitor told her we were closing, she was going to have to leave. In that situation, could we have referred her to Mott's, or, I mean,
Was she establishing residency in Louisa County, or was she just hanging out here waiting until she could go back to the?
well, we don't know, cause she was telling us she ordered tacos. And then she wanted change for 20 because she needed something to drink. I mean, I felt like she could possibly have been having an episode, because her ex-husband did come in at one time. She was yelling at him out the front of the courthouse. And I'm thinking this is my initiation into the auditor position, because I had to be the one handling it. And I mean, and I used to work for the CPC, so I was calm about it. But then the husband came in and they got in this fight in the hallway. So I'm thinking there was probably some sort of mental health situation going on. I don't know for sure, but then she calmed down and she was sitting in this chair very inappropriately. And
So what I would say is, anybody has access to the Mott's drop-in center. That's a
could
drop-in
we
center,
have
so,
referred her over there? I mean,
yeah, you could have gave her the address, you could tell her where it was, she could walk right in the door.
well, yeah,
You could
because
call
Cindy's
them.
gone in the afternoon, so, and I didn't know, I almost called her just to see.
I was gonna say, I know the whole situation with this one, I'm available anytime, you can call my
Okay.
cell phone.
Okay, I
She
appreciate
was
that.
here, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't want all this in the newspaper, please. This is a client information type situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I would say give me a call, she could have been asked to leave the courthouse at any time because of the situation that she was putting herself in, but,
yeah,
I referred her to Hillcrest, but she wasn't gonna walk anywhere. So
okay.
there's a lot more.
Well,
to
and
it.
after she came from your office, her ride did come into my office. I talked to her ride back to Muscatine, and I seen her get into the van and away she went. And
Yeah,
I
I
just
was bring that
know-
Jamie back, but
yeah, okay, I just didn't want,
We'll chat with you after.
huh?
We can chat with you after.
Yeah. Let's get on with our 2080 here, we got a sign. I think we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2080 agreement.
One second.
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So how many places I get to sign this thing? 2 or 3?
There's a resolution,
You have an issue with that?
Yep.
and then there's also a
It should-
signature page approving the 2080.
That's
And I
more,
think
that's not a
Selena made copies.
taxpayer's money,
of both
but
of them.
usually you do.
Do you need to pass the resolution?
Usually taxpayers don't pay.
Get it?
What'd you say about the resolution?
Do you need to sign that they're pass the resolution separately? Which is the intent to join?
We just,
Won't we do that?
Well,
Won't
we
we start all over?
our agenda says approving by resolution, the 2080 agreement. Is that what we need to do? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
You redoing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
202323. With the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa 2080 agreement.
Second, that one.
Got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Adams.
Okay, now we have the signature payment or page where we will join the two areas. The South Central region and the Southeast Iowa link together.
So our new name will be the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa. That has already been branded. So it passed through both of those governing boards. And when we meet next week on the 14th, then we'll compile all this information, all the resolutions and signature pages. And our CEO will be submitting that to the state of Iowa so that that will be recorded. So that's why the county doesn't need to take care of any of that. We're gonna handle that on our own, and then you can submit.
And this 2080 just over the one we previously had, it just updates it,
Correct.
expands it.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Can we make a motion? Or do we have to do that?
That would be a motion just to join, to sign the 2080 to.
So this is
combine
all
the two.
included.
The resolution is the intent to join,
Yeah.
it's your intent, and so once that resolution is completed, then, I think you already made a motion to sign the signature page, which is actually officially joining the resolution,
Yeah.
which will go along with the 2080 to the state of Iowa.
The lawyers stayed up late tonight thinking this all out.
Yes, this document has been through, all of the lawyers, we did have some points raised a couple weeks ago, right after we had it approved, we revetted it, went back through a special meeting with our governing board members and has been approved officially. That's why I waited till now.
So my
There's
question,
probably been 20 county attorneys.
my
Yes.
question is, do you need a motion to sign this signature page?
I think we can do them all in one day.
I think so too. I thought that would encompass all that.
Well, that would be maybe under the first motion would be to sign that, and the second motion would be to sign that, so I think we're good.
So I wanted to get,
Good question.
felt like we were doing a big circle.
Right, great. So we are done, haven't done. People, county attorneys has been looking at this for close to a month, really.
Yes, and I know that the county attorney who had raised some questions about it because there was new legislation, that's why we had some questions about it, because the legislation's to be passed this week. So there were some things in there that they wanted to make sure were in there appropriately. We had two different Iowa code sections that we're addressing that's up until that new legislation's passed, because it's going to change our governing board membership. As far as who's a voting member, also decreasing the number of county board of supervisors who will be participating in that. So we'll be developing another committee to determine which county board of supervisors would like to and would be assigning them to represent our.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of informally done at the last meeting. I don't know if you guys heard us, but the small 3 or 4 counties went, "You guys got it."
So,
But yeah, we'll do that more next week.
yes, on the 14th.
Okay. With that, I guess we can,
Do we all sign together?
just now we will probably all sign the paper in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And this all has to be back to somebody by the 16th, doesn't it?
The 14th is when we meet, we will compile all of this and then we'll send it off to the state. So it should be all completed. The only things that we have coming up next, because this will preempt us to get our fiscal agent agreement signed, because obviously we had 2 fiscal agents, but now we have already vetted through and gotten applications, so Des Moines County will be our new fiscal agent. And, we'll get an agreement signed with them, and then they will cover all of the counties, and then we'll come back, bring you guys, one last thing, which will be the, memorandum of understandings for our county employees, because we're still, county employees. Your counties are our employer of record, even though we're funded by the state and designated and governed by a region. But counties are still our employer of record, and we still have Fund 6 that will, pay wages and be reimbursed, just like we've been doing it the last year. So none of that will change.
As a structure of the board that you was talking about, letting the bigger counties, sometimes I'm not comfortable with that, but oversee is what decision-making processes, since the state's doing it, is there any decision-making at this levels anymore, at the supervisor level?
At the supervisor, no, the local supervisor level, no, except your representative that Louisa County has will go into the pool of, board of supervisors, who will then decide who will be the voting members on the governing board for the region. Because it's with the new legislation this year, it's limited to 49% of the voting membership. And so now we're only gonna be able to have, I think it was 6 board of supervisors on the new government. And that would have happened whether we were in a bigger region or smaller one. But Chris's name will go into that hat, and everyone will decide who is going to be voting. Obviously, it's an open meeting, so you're always welcome to attend it. You just wouldn't have voting rights.
Now, does the state have another board that represents the governors? Did she assign anybody that oversees all the other boards? Is there a main board? Is there?
There are several.
That's what I'm wondering.
There's
That's why I'm asking these questions. 'Cause
there's like
who's
a-
really making the decisions?
Well, it's a compilation, so we also have the MHDD commission, which vets through a lot of things. As we also have a mental health advisory. I think that the governor actually assigns someone to that. So our representatives on the MHDD commission are Jack Seward and also Sarah Burnt from our
Right.
region. And then we have somebody on the advisory committee.
I think as long as we have somebody in our region that's on the state board, I feel comfortable with.
We've always had that.
Yeah, as long as we keep that
Broker
seat.
has been on that too.
Tom Roker was.
He's off that now.
Now it's
Well,
Jack Stewart.
Stewart.
Yeah.
And I know Dee Sandquist with Jefferson County sits on one of those boards as well. So,
Where I'd get nervous if they eliminated that contact. And that's where we was always worried about, we're gonna lose we're gonna fumble the football. What's gonna happen is things are gonna get out of hand in the state. And I was always worried about how they was paying, because they didn't have a very good track record on paying their bills on time. And now it sounds like it's getting a lot better.
yep, those have been coming in as scheduled, so we haven't been having a problem. Obviously, in the next couple of years with the legislation, did not include that increase in the fund balance percentage, so we are limited to 5% carryover, which as we try to meet that goal, could be a little problematic, but as long as the payments are coming in, you know, in early July, then we should be able to manage that. However, it potentially could cause some issues, just
And 5% is pretty tight. Yeah.
very tight, especially when you're paying bills the first week of July and trying to
Trying to get
July to get providers paid.
Yeah. And get the billing in time, yeah.
Mhm.
Nope, I get it. I just wanted to, we always kind of leery when the state took over. I think it's gonna be a great thing, but just getting that transition, because we was so ahead of everybody else in this area. You guys did a great job, but I just don't want to go backwards the next way. Sometimes I'm kind of leery of let the state make too many, because we lose our pulse, our finger on the pulse, and that's where I hate that.
I think that our intent in our region and also the membership in the other region is to have someone who oversees every county or is included, so. We have a CDS. She said CBC and she threw me off because I was one of those years.
That's old term.
Yeah, but we do have a CDS or someone in every county that we have, just so that we're making sure that we're hearing the voice, so, you know, you guys share with me, I share with other people, we try to make sure that our communities are, you know, getting the services that we
That's all
can.
we ask for.
Well, I think we could best serve this area with our resource officers that see 300 and 400 faces a day.
Mhm.
Either get them crisis intervention training or some kind of training. Cause they could see, I think could be a good person to see warning signs of something.
Yeah, we did have the CIT training in May that we hosted in Washington, actually, with Solutions Point. And you did have one, person from Louisa County come to that. I think she really enjoyed that. So, that was
Maybe
your
the-
jail director.
Or maybe get the training in June when school's out and our resource officers could
That would be good too.
have a week to get trained right.
Mhm.
Just a suggestion for the future.
Yes, and we send out surveys to law enforcement to ask them, what is the best time for you? Typically, I think they say like February, March, but
Yeah.
that
so
does
school
make it
resource
difficult
center.
for the school folks to, but we are developing other trainings and looking. We're kind of at the mercy of Solutions Point in, so we pay statewide and then they have so many trainings per year. And we put in that did not get one in our region for next year, I don't believe, so. But we can access them, so there would be some travel involved if they wanted to join that, but. We will definitely, once we learn when those CIT trainings are scheduled, we get that word out. Yeah, I need to probably get the names of all of the resource officers that you have. We don't have those. So,
Yeah, a lot of counties
no,
are only have
I'm
a part-time
surprised that
one.
you have a resource officer in it.
We have three.
No, 3 now. So that. 2 and 1 started. Well, or one will just be,
Well,
well,
one's been designated, so three.
today, this as of today, right?
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, one will start the school year at Junction and. Then we have one, but had one for a year and a half at L&M and probably 3 years at Buffalo. 3 years close.
We try to invite the schools to all of our stakeholders meetings so that they can join. And we invite them also to the CIT meetings that we hold monthly. So hopefully.
And our superintendent's been at a lot of them meetings and pretty active with us. Okay, well, we beat you to death, but thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thank
coming
you.
down.
I'll wait around for those and take them back.
You're done, aren't you?
Well, we gotta do claims and then we're done for the day.
No, I'm after forms.
Yeah, well, do you have to sign them?
Yeah.
Is there a notary on it?
Yeah, clerk of the board. Okay, is that, everybody looked at claims or?
Yeah, just finishing up, one thing I was, I just wanna make sure all the IT, everything was in budget. We spent 44,630, but it looks like everything's good, so.
Stay cool now, stay cool.
I don't have anything else, so I'd make a motion to approve the claims as presented. Second.
Okay, got a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
So the claims are. And with that, ends our agenda.
I got one other thing too, we approved a low bid on surveying.
Oh, for conservation.
For conservation, we got that, so I wanted you, and then we're gonna do, I think it's another 8,200 or something like that for putting pins in these location boundaries. We talked about that when he was on the board. We just need to know our points down Plain Prairie and have all that down there where we know where things at.
How bad was the bids?
40. Yeah, 4,400, I think it was, and the highest one was 85,000, I think it was.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say,
It was Klinger again, they was like 39, and they added for the pen part, I think it was like almost 9,000 for that. Yeah. So we agreed that.
40,000.
Yeah, I think it was, I got it out there in the truck.
I just said 40.
He said 4,400.
I said.
Wow. That's quite a range.
Just
But
one
It's
zero.
still, it's still quite a range.
It's just that. But also too, there was one other thing was, I think it was- Oh, July 1st, we'll be getting that land payment. We're gonna do it July 1st. So they'll be coming on the loan we did for buying that acreage out there. So we'll get that, start the first payment will be July 1st.
Okay,
Is that the radius?
But maybe, so you'll be seeing that come through, it'll be a deduction out of the land acquisition account coming into the supervisor, we'll put it back into the county home sales account.
right.
Yeah, so that'd be the first payment coming back in,
And get that
and again, this year, we're gonna do like we did last year, we all voted in to keep all the money, so putting it back in general budget, we're gonna use it for park improvements and stuff like that. I think it's like 112,000 that we're gonna put back in. Where we can keep investing back in the park, so.
well, that'll come with, probably yet this month at a formal,
Yes, but that was some of the
Resolution.
things we talked about, I wanted to make sure
yeah.
I did address that, but, we got that $44,000.
For surveying.
Yeah, that's right around that mark.
Who was that with, the 44,000?
Planner,
And the 85,000 was,
I got them all out there, and,
okay,
but she'll present that all. when she
Oh,
comes up
okay.
to us. I just, my updates. Okay, making a motion.
With that, we can adjourn. If we can get a motion.
I'll still move.
Okay, and we have a second, all in favor, aye. We're adjourned.